the fatal currency decision. In the weeks following the Berlin Wall's collapse, as euphoria gave way to practical concerns, German officials faced a monumental question: how to merge two incompatible monetary systems. The answer they chose prioritized political stability over economic reality, creating a financial time bomb that would explode across industrial towns throughout the former GDR. The currency conversion decision resembled a sudden economic storm that hit without warning. Imagine a factory worker in Dresden earning 1,000 East German marks monthly. After conversion, she would still earn 1,000 marks, but now in Western currency. Her purchasing power skyrocketed overnight, but her factory's costs soared simultaneously, threatening her very job. At the heart of this economic storm lay a critical question: what was an East German mark actually worth compared to the West German Deutsche mark? The answer would determine the fate of millions of citizens' savings, wages, and the viability of entire industries. Most economists advocated for an exchange rate reflecting economic realities, between 3:1 and 4:1 for wages and prices. The East German currency had limited purchasing power outside its borders and represented productivity levels far below Western standards. The German Bundesbank proposed a 2:1 conversion rate for most transactions, which still valued the Eastern currency generously. But Chancellor Helmut Kohl faced intense political pressure. East Germans feared their life savings would vanish during the transition. As elections approached in East Germany, Kohl promised in February 1990 that East German citizens could convert their savings at a 1:1 rate, a politically brilliant but economically catastrophic decision. When currency union took effect on July 1, 1990, the conversion rules applied different rates to different transactions. Personal savings up to 4,000 marks converted at 1:1, while larger amounts received less favorable rates. Wages, pensions, and rent payments also converted at 1:1. Company debts, however, exchanged at 2:1, creating immediate accounting problems for struggling businesses. The implications were severe and immediate. East German labor costs jumped to 70% of West German levels, while productivity remained at only 30% of Western standards. This gap between wages and productivity rendered Eastern businesses hopelessly uncompetitive. The conversion effectively quadrupled the real cost of East German labor relative to its productivity, dooming most Eastern enterprises, even reasonably efficient ones. The mechanical, engineering sector illustrates this devastation. Before conversion, these companies exported machinery to Eastern Bloc countries on favorable terms. After July 1990, their prices quadrupled in convertible currency, making products prohibitively expensive compared to Western alternatives. Orders vanished almost immediately. Similarly, chemical factories around Bitterfeld and Lunasaw production costs soar, while their products remain technologically inferior. Profitable enterprises became money-losing operations overnight. By September 1990, industrial production in East Germany fell by 50% compared to the previous year, dropping to less than one-third of pre-reunification levels by 1991. Unemployment, virtually non-existent under socialism, skyrocketed. VEB Robotron's collapse exemplifies this pattern. East Germany's largest electronics manufacturer, with 68,000 employees, produced uncompetitive but marketable computers for Eastern Bloc countries. After conversion, these became prohibitively expensive while remaining technologically obsolete. The company collapsed almost immediately, with most facilities closed within months. East German retailers faced similar fates. When currency became convertible, consumers rushed to purchase superior Western products. Local stores that once had queues despite limited selection suddenly stood empty. Within months, familiar East German brands disappeared from shelves. The currency decision created a painful paradox. It gave East Germans immediate purchasing power while destroying the economic foundation for their future income. Wages were briefly preserved at artificial levels that the underlying productive capacity could not sustain. The tragedy was its predictability. Bundesbank President Karl Otto Pohl warned Chancellor Kohl that the favorable exchange rate would exceed the performance capabilities of the East German economy and result in significant unemployment. Pohl later resigned in protest, accurately predicting that transfer payments would be needed for years to support the collapsed Eastern economy. The currency decision created distinct winners and losers. Pensioners benefited substantially, as their payments converted at 1:1 and gradually aligned with Western levels. Property owners gained as their real estate suddenly held value in Western currency. Industrial workers suffered severely, as employers could no longer afford their newly expensive wages. Some economists argue that a shock was inevitable, as many East German industries were too inefficient and environmentally destructive to survive in a market economy regardless of exchange rate. While partially true, the abrupt 1:1 conversion eliminated any possibility of gradual adjustment that might have allowed viable industries to adapt. The repercussions extended beyond economics. The collapse of East German industry created a profound psychological wound among East Germans. Their skills, education, and work experiences, their entire professional identities, were suddenly deemed inadequate or obsolete, contributing to a lasting sense of second-class citizenship that influences German politics today. Defenders of the conversion argue it prevented mass emigration that might have occurred if East Germans had seen their savings dramatically devalued. This argument has merit. The decision protected individual financial assets and provided immediate access to Western goods. However, it sacrificed long-term economic viability for short-term political stability.